Hello and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that bit of footage of the Flying Scotsman charging around the railway there. I told you it wouldn't all be transcontinental. So here are these coaches and locomotive that we had a look at just towards the end of last video. So I haven't got around to cleaning them yet, so it's been one of those weeks again, so there's tons going on, so we'll get these cleaned up, but we'll just have a quick look over these. So I think I said that this came along pre-58, and I was mistaken. It was released 58. I think they made these in similar liveries to this through to 59, possibly available in different markets, with different wording on the sides for different periods of time. But I think with these Mark II style couplings here in the UK, possibly only available for a shorter period of time. So we'll have a glance over the coaches in a moment. So I've just got the 58 catalogue here. So let's have a glance at the locomotive. So there we've got it sitting at the top of the page. Lovely illustration of the item. So it's a double-ended diesel locomotive, electric, with working headlights. And then below there's a dummy there. So R.250, if you look on the base of the model, it's got both model numbers, R.159 and R.250. So I think the top part of it certainly, and the roof are universal across the two models. So let's see if we can have a glance at the coaches. So there we go, and I think that page is absolutely terrific. So I think when I showed that box with the items in it, I'd scanned this and the picture of the locomotive just to stick on the outside of the box. So there we've got the Vista Dome, so it's a R132, and then we've got the passenger coach, R131, and then we've got the observation car, R133, and what we've got down here, we've got the baggage car, sorry, I'm losing speech already, R134. So I think coaches in blue, these first series coaches were made sort of 58 to 61, and again they would have acquired the Mark III couplings quite rapidly, I think, as the triangle generally shifting over to the newer style couplings. Also, I think there are variations available with grey roofs. I do have a set with grey roofs, but with the Mark III couplings, I'll leave a link to a video with those, so you can have a look at those if you'd like. So, and then there was the earlier silver and red ones, and earlier than that they were just in silver without the red stripe. So I think if we just pop that down, we've got a price list here from 1st January 1958, and if we look down with the locomotives here, we've got the Transcontinental series locomotives there, and then we've got R159 double-ended diesel holding focus down here. And there's no pricing, it's still got an asterisk there, and it's available later, and also the dummy R250. And I think the coaches, there is some pricing on them here. They have made it onto the price list and priced. So we've got the blue Transcontinental coaches down there. There's the baggage one at the bottom, 9 and 11. The observation coach in blue. Different pricing again. So they're priced for the complexity of putting the models together, brought on sort of different pricing. So let's pop that down. I'll put a copy of this at the end of the video so you can have a look over both sides of it. So let's pop that back in there, and we'll stick that in a place of safety. We'll just have a look over the passenger coach. So this one is R131. So I'm trying to glance at my notes on the edge of shot here. So these are lovely condition. There's a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for again? I always get stuck for the words when I'm doing this. We'll come back to the word, but you can see that the metal has been affected a little bit. Corrosion is the word I'm looking for. There are more technical terms to describe it, but a tiny bit of corrosion there. The wheels are relatively dirty, but they are free-ish, so I'm going to tap those out. I'm not going to cover that. There are other videos where I've tapped the wheels out of this style of bogie with sleeved wheels and metal axles. So again, I could leave a link in the video, below the video for that. So there's a little bit of bending on the coupling, so we'll straighten those out, but they're a lovely crisp condition. I don't think they've seen an awful lot of use. So we'll just pop that down there. And then we've got the Vista Dome, so R.132. So that lovely seating in there. Look, it's really beautiful colour, isn't it? And again, ends of the coaches fairly similar. And we've got wording and stuff on the bottom. So we've got our 24 and 25. So I think that refers to the silver type coaches. So the same moulding as used, and then in slightly not as bold, but I think the numbers there, they've got 131 and 132. So the bases of these coaches could be used for the two different models. I think that is the case on the bottom here. So these models did come as a set, and by the look of the end of the boxes, they all did. They have all lived together for most of their lives. So we'll have a glance at the boxes a little later on. So there's the baggage car. So we are 134 for that. In here, those doors sliding. So in the silver versions and the silver and red ones, I've just put a little bit of tape on the back of those to hold them shut because they vibrate open whilst we're running around, which I find quite annoying. But there we go. We've got the wording on the bottom of the model there. Nice screw to the bottom. Again, you can see the general condition's not too bad. Just going to need a little bit of tidying up. So we'll pop that down, and then we've got the observation car there with that wonderful sort of canopy on the back, I suppose you'd call it. So again, that beautiful seating colour, rows of seats on the inside and the floor in nice colours. Tail lamp there, so non-illuminating would have been a lovely feature, that, to have an illuminating tail lamp on the back end of there. Let's have a look at the base of the model here. So there we have got some numbering there. So observation coach R133. We've got the two there we go, we've got it in focus. The larger number there, 133, which is the blue one, and the 125 I think will be the silver, or the silver and red range. Of course, there was a slightly later version of TC coaches coming along in the I think it's 62ish. So I'll pop a picture of the later series of the TC coaches in the corner of the screen there. A lovely group of items as well. So I'll get on and actually no, I won't get on and clean these. We'll have a look at the locomotive while we're here. So I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I imagine it's going to take me a day or so to clean these things up. So there's the locomotive again. There is a sticker on the bottom. It looks like the previous owner has put something on the bottom there. So it says EL, and it's got R.159-3 on the end of it there. And you can see lots of marking there with the underside of the bogie has sort of made its mark across there on the edge of the body. This plate actually pops out, so you could actually put a motor in both ends and make quite a powerful unit. So it does light up once it gets underway. So I think we saw this sort of cough and splutter along the rails, and it did light up at both ends. They get quite worn there. Lovely horns. Let's see if we can just pop the screws out of this. Actually, I'm just going to put these coaches out of the way, and then we'll have a little bit more space to play. There we go. So let me see if I can get the screws out of here. Just listen for the thread to drop. That's a remarkably long screw. I was expecting that to be much shorter than that. There we go. Look at the length of that. I was expecting much shorter screw than that. So let's have a look. Let's see if we can get the other one out. So I'm not sure how far I'll be able to dismantle this. Because of the cabling, I might not be able to do this. I need to sit down and take more care rather than doing this under the camera. So let's whip the top off there. See if we can ease that away. There we go. You can see the cabling there. There's the underside of the roof. You can see see if we can grab. Let's grab focus where the horns, the underside of the horns are folded through the plastic. So it always looks like you could have had a pantograph on there. But the double-ended electric has the pantographs at either end, doesn't it? So that sort of looks like you could put one in the centre. We've got those lovely yellow cables there running from one end to the other end, and the bogies just can just be secured just there. So we can see a slight pivot when we turn it there. And there we see the little clip there with I think that's where the tank is secured, but plenty of room for weight in there. Let's see if we can just separate the bogey. Excuse my hands, we'll put those screws just over there. You see where the screws secure in there? You've got a lovely sort of metal insert for it to catch into. It's quite a solid type of construction, and there is a little bit of distortion in the plastic where these cables have laid, especially there. So it seems to have really got there. You can see the mark it has left in the plastic over the years. A little bit of overspray on the yellow. So I'm rambling on here, but I find these things quite interesting. So let's see if we can just get that out of there. Feel for that to drop off. There we go. I think we've got that. And magnetic. Let's just ease that apart. Oh, one of the connections to the lamp has come away already. I don't know whether I can just, let me see if I can get that while we're here. There we go. So let's just have a look at this part here. See, the bogey sits in there. And we've got that nice transparent area there where the lamp, the bulb goes in there. So it looks like the bulb has been, that's not it doesn't look to be a standard sort of triangle bulb. It looks like a threaded bulb just lying in there. So I think I may change that. I don't know whether we can see that. So I'm not going to sort of try and fiddle with that now, but the danger of that, I think, is possibly if that bulb is resting against the plastic here, we're going to get some melt through. So I say this hasn't done any work at all since I got it. It just sort of sat in the box. I did know the motor turned, but we'll have a look at it. I will. I don't think I can do this carefully at the moment. I will inspect the bulb in that side. I'll put a drop-in picture in the corner there of what that looks like once I get that apart. But we'll see if we can get some more traditional sort of bulbs in there. I don't think I'll go to the putting LEDs in here. I think I'll probably leave it original. So let's pop that. Actually, let's just look at the bottom of the locomotive. And there's those numbers. You've got R.159. Get those in focus. And then we've got R.250 for the dummy. So we just had one of these plates clipped in the other end to make the dummy unit. So let's grab the motor carefully. It's very basic, isn't it? Those lovely pins there. Quite original condition. Motor looks pretty good. Pads look really, really dry. So I'm not going to dismantle fully, I don't think. I think what I'm going to do is do a light clean, drop the wheels out and clean the axles, because I think that would be all sticky and grubby in there, and that's going to improve the continuity. Pick up on the track quite nicely. Give the wheels a good clean, and we'll see how it runs from there. I don't think I'm going to dismantle it fully. So yeah, that's really, really quite strong on the magnet there. So there is the motor. All works nicely now. As you saw from those sort of pictures back there, it was all a bit sort of gungy and sticky on the inside, and it has smoothed out quite nicely now. So I did go ahead and replace the bulbs in the bodywork, so we'll have a look at that in a moment. So I'm quite pleased with that. Let's just run that back there. And we'll stop that there. So the time was eaten up with the coaches, really. There were just so many wheels to do. So have a quick look over that. So we'll get all that back together in a moment and that plugged back in. I did notice a couple of things with the bodywork. So obviously somebody had put those threaded bulbs in and soldered them in. And I have gone ahead and put some more bulbs in, but I've made a slight modification. Not much of a modification, just put some black tape in here to stop light leak on going down towards the tracks. So I did find some sort of new old bulbs, if you know what I mean, from well, actually they weren't new, they were in a dead model. We'll have a look at the dead model. When I was pulling the bulbs out of the dead model, I suppose I knew it, but it didn't strike me at first when I looked at it. Let's grab this. There must have been a change in the way this was put together, so there's a hole for the bulb to be poked through, whereas in this you've actually got to remove the window glazing unit to get the bulb. So the bulb sat on the top side of that, so it's quite difficult to get out. So that's all done. You can see this one is all sort of chewed up, so somebody had done a lot of soldering on there, so I've just rescued the bulb out of there, and you can see there is a difference. This one's got shields on the side instead of the Triang Railways name on the side there. Colours are slightly different. This earlier one is slightly more lemony yellow on the speed stripes. This one's sort of more orangey, isn't it? So we'll get that together in a moment. What else? Let's have a quick glance at the coaches. So they're all sort of lying here. So it was just not necessarily difficult, it was just time consuming with other things going on. So I think we're in good shape with the wheels there. So again, I suspect that these wheels aren't entirely round in the first place. They're never going to be sort of silky smooth, but they will run around the railway. So we'll get all those on there. I'll give it a go without putting anything additional on these to stop them uncoupling, and see how we go. I have had a go at the couplings, and they're all relatively nice. Let's just stand one of these on the track, and we'll see what I mean about the smoothness. There we go. So I did just pop a bit of tape on the back of those doors, just so that we can stop them vibrating open. So if you listen to that, so when you do look at the wheels, when you look closely at them, there is sort of variation in the way they're made. They're very crudely moulded, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that lot to run there. So we'll come back to all of that. We should just look at the front end as well. So I had the wheels out of there as well. Wheels are much nicer in that than on the coaches. So had those out and all cleaned. Again, if you look at that drop-in picture, I know I showed it earlier, but you'll see I had all the wheels out of everything. So soaked them in water and cleaning agent overnight, and it's a time thing really. You leave it, but then the actual just physically dismantling, so that runs really, really nicely. So I think that's going to be a lovely model to get running. So let's have a look at the Flying Scotsman. Let's just change the controller over here. So I'll put the handheld on the other side. So we saw the Flying Scotsman. Whoops, have I got power on there? Let's turn that off while I plug that in, otherwise it makes it run when you plug it in. There we go. So we don't want any more charging around while we're not looking what's happening. So a Flying Scotsman sitting there. Those teak style coaches. I think the Flying Scotsman came along in the Triang Hornby range in the sort of late 1960s. A number of variations made up into the 70s. I think the sort of variations and new versions of the model in the Hornby catalogue today, possibly. Let's see if we can follow this one around. So we're going to get that to come around under the elevated section there. And we'll bring that gently to a stop just at the station. Pop the controls down, have a swift look over the catalogue. This is a 69 catalogue, although I think possibly the Flying Scotsman showed up in 68. I don't think the LNER version showed up in the 68 catalogue, so there's the BR version, R.855. Very pretty model, that. And there was the LNER version, 855. Let's say I think variations of that up into the late 1970s in its basic form, and then Hornby have updated the model over the years. I think this would have had, or could have had, exhaust steam sound, the chuff chuff box in the tender. I don't think it ever got smoke. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have a model with it with the smoke unit in. I wonder if anybody knows. And then we've got the 1970 catalogue. The teak style coaches didn't show up till 1970, though. We've got the R.745. I've got the full third available, summer 70 it says down there, and then we've got the R.746 brake third also available, summer 1970. It's a peculiar colour in the pages of that catalogue. Let's just have a look. The Flying Scotsman is in this catalogue as well. Again, peculiar colours. There we go. There's the LNER Flying Scotsman and the beautiful coronation there. So what I'll do is I'll get all these catalogues put away. I'll get the top put back on the locomotive. And this being very early Sunday morning, and it's just beginning to get light there. There's the Model Railway Club, the Blythentine Model Railway Club here in North Shields is having an open day. And it was open yesterday afternoon, and I didn't really get around to going, so I'm going to pop down there this morning, and then we'll pick this up later. So there we go, all back on the rails. A little bit hard to see the lamp glow in this light. Let's see if we can get back a little bit. So far, we haven't had any uncouplings. Had a good charge around with it a little earlier this afternoon. Day has marched on hugely. Ended up spending longer than I'd anticipated at the little model railway exhibition, or open day, this afternoon. We'll see some of the footage from that next week. Let's get one more round on that. Let's see if I can come back round here. Tremendous looking model. Just see if we can get the tail end, because the end coach on here is quite an impressive item, isn't it? Let's see if I can get round behind there. I have a feeling it's all going to come uncoupled and go horribly wrong in a moment. There, so I think we'll grab hold of the controls and see if we can bring this lot to a stop. So controls are behind me. We'll just have a quick run down the side of the models whilst we've got them stationary. I think they're a lovely set. I think they may well have got plastic bogies as they were upgraded and went for Mark III couplings. I think these are metal bogies on here, adding to the sort of rattling effect that we're having there. So I think what we'll do, we'll just get the Flying Scotsman around as well. Let's see if we can get that underway. So I'll just let's grab the controls here. Let's see if we get that settled down and running quite nicely. Not quite as quick as we opened with, perhaps. Let's see if that settles down there. I'm sure that's going to pick up a little speed by itself. These things usually do. There we go. Whoops. I'm not quite tall enough to see that. I'm sort of on tiptoes, and the glare on the back of the camera, I'll lose sight of what's actually there for a moment. So let's get this terrific transcontinental locomotive on the go as well. Not sure whether you'd ever run these two sets together on your railway, but I don't see why not. Looks fairly impressive. Just trying to adjust the speed so we keep them all in the shot together. I think perhaps what we'll do, we'll just stop them in a moment. We'll see if we can swap tracks. So we'll stop the R.159 just back along here again. There we go. We'll pop the controls down here. And let's grab the controls for the Scotsman. Where are we? There we are. So let's just pop this into a side in here. So we'll just stop that there. Unusual place to stop, but I think that's just before that point there. I want to run that into the station. So we'll fiddle with the point work here. So I think we're this one and that one. And let's just roll that into the station there. I think we're all in. So if I've got this right, I'll be able to swap these two round, he says, hopefully. So let's close those. And now let's make let's turn off one part of the railway and make it all one. And we need to open a route through for the terrific Blue Transcontinental. So we've got to come through here. So we need to go that one. That one's good. And by the Shell oil tank there, we need that one. So if I've got everything right, that's all going to run. I want the other controller. No, I don't. I want the one I had in my hand. That one. Losing track of my plan already. Let's see if we can get that underway. Now, I did quite well with this when I was having a play with it earlier on. So let's see if it all stays coupled up. Whoops, I wasn't expecting it to stutter quite like that there. Let's just stop that there. I'm going to run that back through those points and see if we've got the similar stutter. So let's do that one. And I've lost track of which point I would need to make that happen. So that is that one. Let's try that again. Just playing with the trains. Wrong controller. It's the one with the black dot on it. Yeah, it's not as keen on those points there. But I don't think it's doing too bad. Whoa, there we go. There we've got a derailment there, haven't we? Getting a bit carried away and charging through the points there. I'll see if I can get that back on without having to put the camera down. But we might have to cut away from this. I think we're on there. No, we're not. There we go. Let's see if that does the trick. So, grab the controls. Now I think we've got problems further down the line here, so I'm just going to attend to those and we'll come back to this. Well, I've got it through there. I'm not quite sure why it was stuck there. When I gave it a little bit of a nudge, it was all underway. So let's just run that around again. We'll give it one more go. Yeah, a little bit of stuttering on the points. And hear something going clonk at the back end of that somewhere. So let me just bring that back to a stop. And hear perhaps one of the, I think first time through, that rear bogie on the observation car jumped the rails, didn't it? So yeah, there's definitely a bit of a clonk going on there somewhere with one of the. Sorry, I wasn't pointing, a bit of a clonk on the coach as it the last coach, the observation one, as it comes through there. Let's close those while we're at it. And actually, no, we don't want to close those. We want to bring. Yeah, we do. Ignore me. So I want to do now this one, and we'll leave that there. And now what we want to do is bring the Flying Scotsman through. So I'm just going to fiddle with this set of points. So that one and that one. So ideally, now the TC locomotive is isolated and the Flying Scotsman will move. Nice trick when it works. But talking and holding the camera at the same time, it's all too easy to forget what you're doing and lose concentration. So I think we're all the way on the inside line now. Let's just bring this around, and then we'll split the railway back into two. So I'll pop the control down for a second, and we'll attend to this point here, and this one over here. So let's find the trains again. So we'll split that into two railways again. And let's get the locomotives underway again. So let's give it a little power. Let's see how she does on the inside line, and then we'll get the brightly coloured transcontinental locomotive underway. Yeah, that's settling down quite nicely. Yeah, so I think we'll risk leaving that one alone there. And we'll depart the station. I've got to switch the points, of course, otherwise it's still isolated, isn't it? Silly me. This time around. So we'll wait for the Scotsman to come round again. We'll go in tight on that. So it's a bit of a bits and pieces one. I think predominantly it's quite an early one. It's got the painted centre drive wheel. So there's definitely no flange on it, no chuff in the tender. There we go. Let's get a little bit more power on there. I have to say, it does bring a bit of a smile to the face running these two around the railway. You can hear those knurled wheels really biting at the track. My arm is just on a nerve there, if you can see the camera shaking. So I'm just going to... actually, we'll go around one more time with it. Whoops. There's that clonk again. I don't know whether you heard that. That was when the tail end of the coach was going through the last point in the station. So we'll just begin to take the power off it. A nice gentle stop. Oh, stop that there. Isn't it quiet when you turn that one off? Let's see if we can get the Scotsman coming back around here. Sorry, I'm pointing at the floor. I'm looking over my shoulder for the controls. And then we'll bring that gently to a stop there. Wow. definitely gives the ears a rest when those two have come to a stop. Just have a swift look over the boxes, I think, before we go, and then we'll see if we can have a look at something else more interesting when we not more interesting, but interesting when we come back to next week's video. So just grab those, and I did show these boxes briefly in last week's video. So there's the box for the double-ended diesel R.159, definitely seen better days. It's cardboard inside. Whoops. No instructions, so a little bit of paper in there. But quite nice to have the boxes for these things, even if they are in fairly poor condition. There's the baggage car. So again, lovely trying railways boxes. Some of these are slightly different sizes depending on the items that are in them. There's the coach, R131. And well, we've got the Vista dome. So this is a bigger box because it's got that great big dome on the top of it. Missing the ends of that one. We'll pop that there. And then we've got the observation car with that lovely clear canopy on the back there. So yeah, they came as a set. So I think we'll just probably call it a day there. We'll just let that TC locomotive run away out of the station. Now I can't remember which controller is which. This could be quite dangerous. So I think I've got the correct one. So away we go. Goodbye now. We're just a few days later here. When I was editing back the video, I noticed that when the TC locomotive was coming through here into the 00 station, it was sort of jumping around in this area here. And what had happened, I think this platform, lead platform ramp, had worked its way across, and the skirt on the front of the locomotive, actually I think it was the back of the locomotive, thinking back on it now, it was catching it and making it sort of jump up. So we've got no interference from that at all. So I didn't notice that, but that was just needed pushing a few millimeters across. So it was just because I've been doing all of this work along here, I think in the last week or so, things have just got knocked out of place. But let's just run this around. And I also had a fiddle with these points over here. So let's leave that there for a second, and then we'll change the green points. Let's see if we can keep sight of that. And we'll give that a little power. So these points down here, we were getting quite significant stutters on. So I think I made an improvement on these. And what I've done was there was a little lift on this outside rail, seemingly. And I've put I don't know whether you can see that. I'll try and magically zoom that in. A track screw there, and I've done the same here. And there was an element of it going on this point as well. And we put a track screw in there as well, just to pull that down. Whilst I wasn't really experiencing any trouble with the other locomotives, it seems to have made a little bit of a difference with this one. Let's just run that a bit further around. And then we'll come back again. So there's always something when you're playing with these sort of ancient things. I think for those playing with absolutely contemporary stuff as well, I think there is always something. I think it's just the nature of the hobby. You've got to be prepared to have a bit of a fiddle around, keep an open mind about stuff. So it sounds a little bit sort of jumpy over there. Sounds like something trying to climb something, but it's sort of holding on to it. Let's just go back one more time and then we'll let you go. So yeah. So we'll just stop that there. And I also forgot, while we had the 69 catalogue out, that the double-ended diesel does make a final appearance, or what I think might be the final appearance in the UK catalogue. It may have been available in other markets for a greater period of time, but quite interesting. This has trying railways along the side of it. I think maybe they might have dropped to the Shield version by that point. I wonder if anybody has any further information, or has a boxed one from this period, and could let me know whether it did have trying railways on it, or whether it had the TR Shield on the side instead. But I think that's it for this time. Thanks again for watching. Sorry we tagged this bit on the end, and we'll have a look at something else interesting next time. Goodbye now.